So step number one for creating the perfect eye look is choosing the right eye. Number one for choosing, oh my God, why do I keep saying choosing? Hi guys, my name is Megan and I'm part of the social and content team here at Adore Beauty. I'm also a freelance makeup artist and have been for about 5 years. So today I'm going to take everything right back to basics and I'm going to show you how to create this eye look, including eyeshadow application, as well as how to apply false lashes at home by yourself. So you may notice that I don't have any face makeup on, and that is deliberate. So when I usually have foundation on and then go in with my eyeshadow, I've found that I get fallout and it kind of sits all here and it just makes your foundation look really gunky and dirty. If you're using really light shadows, then you can probably get away with just doing your foundation first. But if you're using dark browns or blacks, I would definitely recommend doing your eyes first. So step number one for creating the perfect eye is first choosing the perfect base. So today I'm going to be using TV Paint Stick by Kryolan. You can also use this as a foundation, which if you look at the other videos, you will see. So I'm just going to take a really, really light layer of this. I'm not going to really pack it on because it is quite a full coverage product. So I'm just going to place this onto my lid area. And you may notice that this shade is a lot different to my skin tone. It's because my neck and my chest are the same shade as this. So I'm trying to create unison here. My face literally never sees sunlight, so that's why there's such a color difference there. And I always make sure that I go in and cover the dark area in here. So now that I'm looking real crazy, I'm going to set the TV stick that I just use as a base so that it doesn't crease or create any yucky lines. So I'm just going in with the Makeup Forever Pro Finish Powder, and I'm just going to set that with a fluffy brush. So today we're going to be using the Meet Matrimony palette from the Balm. So cute. These are completely matte shadows. We're going to be creating a matte look today because I feel that this is probably something that you can wear both day and night, so it's a bit more transferable for everyone. So I'm going to go into Matte Lopez and Matte Evans, and I'm just going to take this on a fluffy brush and I'm going to start in my crease. So if you're not sure where your crease is, basically everyone has a bone here within their socket, and you just want to push the brush into that little crevice underneath the bone, and you're just going to do little windshield wiper motions. As you can see, that's already created heaps of definition. Never ever start with your darkest shade in your crease because it's going to look crazy and it's going to be really hard to blend out. Another option is you can use your bronzer. Today for my cheeks I'm going to be using Hoola by Benefit, but I'm also going to blend some of that into my eye crease. This is really great because it kind of just brings the whole look together, eyes, cheeks, everything. And just pressing really softly and really gently on the eye area as well, I find always helps. And I will bring it down slightly just into the outer corner of my eye. I would also recommend when doing eye makeup, always do each eye at the same stage. So don't completely finish the right eye and then have to go and recreate it on the left eye because it'll probably be hard. Okay, so now I'm going to take Matte Lin, which is not just a nice pale shade. Now I take this on my finger because I just find that it allows the shadow to be a lot more pigmented. And I just want to highlight my inner lid with that shade. And I don't swipe it on, I just dab it on. So as you can see, that's already created a nice highlighting effect for my inner corner. And for the other eye, I go in with my left hand. My left finger, I should say. You could use this one, but I just feel like this just kind of contours better. So you actually could just leave it here, chuck your mascara on, and you're pretty much good to go. But for anyone that wants to take it that extra step, I'm going to show you how to do that. Taking a Real Techniques Deluxe crease brush, I'm going to use Matte Reed. So it's this lovely chocolatey brown. And I'm just going to add some drama in my outer corner. When adding darker shades, tread carefully. You want to ensure that the darker shade doesn't end up being placed here because that will cut your eye off. You want to ensure that the darkest shade is placed just in this little V here, kind of like a triangle. And I'm just going to pack on the product to begin with. as you can see, it will transfer slightly up into this area. So there's really no need to be swiping it up past your socket line, because as soon as you place the shadow onto there, it will naturally transfer slightly. So it'll just give you a nice gradient without being like, oh God, what do I do with all this shadow? I don't know how to blend it out. So now I'm just going to slowly blend that out in little circular motions, but always staying on the mobile lid and never blending up through here.
I make that mistake a lot.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
So that was helpful?
Yeah.
And this technique is actually called a classic eye. So when the eye goes light to dark. A smoky eye, like technically, is actually when there's the same gradient or the same shadow across the whole eye, and it gets darker to lighter. When you're going from your medium shadows to your light shadow to your dark shadow, if you can, and if your kit allows, try and use a different brush for each shadow that you're using. That way you can get really, really detailed application of each shade, and then you're not going to try and go in with your light shadow, but it's throwing off tones of like dark brown because you're using the same brush. Okay, so I've pretty much finished with my 3 shadows. If you wanted to take it further, or you just love shimmer, you could 100% go in with a shimmery shade on the inner or on the outer. It's completely up to you. But today I'm just keeping it matte, but I will be adding a little brow highlight because I love a little pop of brow. I'm just going to take a little detailed brush and I'm going to spray Fix Plus. Fix Plus basically just makes any pigment pop. So going to the Eye of Horus Eclipse of Goddess Traveler, Luxor Light. This shade is amazing. Get ready, brace yourself for this. And I'm just going to pop it into that little area there where my brow arches. Ooh, honey. And then I'm just going to soften the edges with my finger. So as you can see, it's really just transformed the look. And you can go as heavy or as light as you want with the brow highlight. You could sweep your brow highlight all the way across your brow line, but personally I just like to add it to the arch of your brow so that it accentuates that area. Because let's just say that you were in the sun, if the sun was on your face, you would naturally get a high peak there, and you would naturally get a shadow here just because of the way that your forehead is contoured. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to mascara. So I'm going to be using the Maybelline Falsies Lash Lift Mascara. So what I like to do when I'm applying my mascara is I like to zigzag through the lashes, because I feel that each lash has a greater exposure then to the mascara. I hate it when you sneeze when your mascara is still wet.
Don't sneeze then.
No, I'm joking. I'm just going to let my mascara dry for a little bit, but whilst it is drying, I am going to start carving out the perimeter of my shadow. So I'm just going to take a wipe. Basically what we want to do is create a soft line from our bottom lash line to the end of our eyebrow. Another guide is the end of your nose to the end of your eyebrow. So I'm just going to start around here where my bottom lash ends, and I'm just going to create a soft line upwards just above the temple. It's just a bit cleaner. And then I usually just pat out the edges just so that they're not so harsh. So hot tip, if you've ever got a mascara like up here, down here, over here, there's 2 ways you can get rid of it. The best way, I would say, is just let it dry. Just keep going on with your makeup, let it dry for about 2 to 3 minutes. Grab a spoolie, so basically just like a clean mascara wand. And then once the mascara has actually dried on your skin, if you just press really gently, it'll flake off and it won't smudge and go everywhere. But another way that you can do that if you don't have a spoolie on hand, just grab a cotton tip, but also wait for the mascara to completely dry, and then just go in and you can just kind of tack it off. If you take one thing from that whole tip, it is wait till the mascara is dry. It is now time for lashes. I know that this can be the bane of some people's existence. Yes, they can be annoying, but practice really, really does make perfect. You need to decide what you want out of your lash. If you want your eye to look more elongated, then I would go for a lash type that is like this. They start shorter on the inside and then they flare out longer as you get further down the lash band. When you have a lash like that, it's basically going shorter to longer, and it'll lift and elongate the eye. If you wanted your eye to appear more round or rounder, then I would opt for a lash that is either the same length all the way across, or it goes short its longest peak is in the middle of the lash and then it goes back to short. I don't know if you've ever found, so you've popped your fake lash on, it looks great, you've headed out, you look in the mirror, the inside of your lash has come unstuck, so you've got this straight line that just sticks out. It doesn't look cute, and it's really annoying to fix then and there because you're out. I very, very rarely place fake lashes right into the inner of my eye. I have quite watery eyes, so as soon as water hits adhesive, if that wasn't stuck down properly, it's going to pop off straight away. So what I like to do is I always like to tailor my lash and trim it. I always cut it from the outer corner, just because I feel like then they blend a lot more seamlessly with my lashes. I've just chopped my lash, so that was originally sitting there. What I do to make sure that they're symmetrical on both sides is I always just count the little knots. So I cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I cut 5 little knots off from the outer half, and then I will do that on the other side as well. Okay, so taking my Model Rock adhesive, this is my favorite lash glue. What I like to do is just pop some on the back of my hand, and I'm just gonna let it air dry for a little bit. If you let it air dry for a little bit, it becomes tacky. So then when you pop the lash onto your lid, it'll stick a lot easier. So I usually just grab some lash glue on the end of my tweezer, and then I just coat the strip, being sure not to touch like the inner edge or the outer edge. You don't want glue on top of the actual lash. You just want it on the little strip. And that's probably enough glue. I probably wouldn't go more than that because then it just starts to look a bit clunky and it takes ages to dry. For some reason, I find it easier to pop my left eye fake lash on with my fingers. But if you have false nails, like acrylics, and they're really long, that can be really hard. So if that's the case, then just grab them with your tweezers and I'll show you how to apply them with tweezers. So get a mirror. What you want to try and do is pop the lash in the little area where your natural lashes meet your eyelid. So there's that little spot and the fake lash will sit perfectly into it. You just need to move slowly and don't let the lash sense your fear. I'm tilting my head back and I'm coming vertically, kind of like a bird's eye view onto the lash, and I'm just going to place that into the crevice and I'm going to let go. Now you can see it's pretty much in the right place. We're just going to have to do a little bit of tweaking to make sure that it sits perfectly into that little spot. So with my fingers or acrylic nail people, just use your tweezers. I'm now just going to grab the lash and I'm just going to pull it downwards into that little crevice. And then I'm going to slowly push the lash into kind of like towards my eyelid so that it can kind of sit in. Now, as you can see, the inside of my lash is already starting to pop off. So I'm going to go and place that to make sure that when the adhesive starts to dry, it's going to dry in the exact right spot. So I'm going in with my tweezer and I'm just going to push that down into the correct place. And I'm going to go back in with my finger. While these are drying, I want to make sure that my natural lashes and the fake lash are going to look seamless with each other. So what I like to do is grab my tweezers and I'm going to clamp my natural lash and the false lash together. And as you can see, they're already molded quite nicely together. And I will just continue that process along the whole lash line. With this lash glue, it can appear white. That's fine, it's just drying. So once it dries, it is clear. In with the right lash. Got glue a little bit everywhere, that's okay. I'm actually quite happy with where that's sitting. That was a fluke, guys. It's not always that easy. So I'm just gonna let that dry now so that I don't muck it up. Whilst the top is drying, I'm gonna go in and show you how to smoke up your bottom. That's so bad. How to go in to the bottom lash line and smoke that up a little bit, just so that your eyes aren't too top heavy and they're balanced. So taking a little bit of Kryolan once again, I'm just going to swipe that on my lower lash line, just so that the shadow has something to stick to. The thing is, you can't use just any foundation. You do have to be careful with what you're using as an eyeshadow base, because if your foundation is really, really dewy, then you can have issues with longevity, because the eyelid already produces so many oils naturally that throughout the day you can find that your eyeshadow can slip and slide if it's not properly prepped. So you can also use like a nice matte concealer as your eyeshadow base. I found that that works really, really well. Matte foundations are okay as well. But if you're ever worried about it slipping and sliding, just make sure that you set it with powder first, because that's always a really great safeguard against naturally produced oils on the eyelid. We'll just set it with some powder. There's powder, the same Makeup Forever powder as before. So I'll just dust that under my eye.
I don't use makeup brushes, I just use my fingers.
Shut up, even for your eyes.
Because I got like a brush once and I used it and it wasn't pigmented enough and I was like, cool, I give up.
You're wild.
So like I want to learn and get good
Oh my
brushes.
God,
I just don't own any.
Yeah, get some good brushes. I'm going to take the Real Techniques shading brush and I'm going to dip into Matte Lopez. Oh, what's going on with my voice? Matte Lopez and Matte Evans. You could also use Hoola Bronzer as we did in our transition shade. And I'm just going to run that gently along the lower lash line. Now, if it was a daytime look, I would actually just leave that there with the transition shades and just pop some bottom mascara on. I think that that is actually enough to create dimension of the eye without it being too top heavy. But since I feel like being extra. So Matte Read is the shade that we popped into our outer crease. So we're basically going to mimic exactly what we did on the top, but we're going to do it on the bottom. So I'm just going to run Matte Read on the outer part of my lower lash line. And I'm not going to be too heavy-handed with it because I don't want to create a massive dark shadow under my eye. I just want there to be some dimension and some definition. So as you can see, that's already created the illusion that my eye is a bit more lifted, and it just kind of mimics what we've done on the top. So it's a bit matchy-matchy, but it's a vibe. So as you can see, daytime appropriate, nighttime appropriate, but really you can wear them both anytime. If you wanted to take it that step further, you could add a brown liner to the inner waterline. If you wanted to take it, you know, step forward with the drama. If you wanted to open up your eyes that little bit more, you could add a nude liner to your waterline. Completely up to you. Today I'm just gonna leave mine just natural, and I'm just gonna pop some mascara on my bottom lashes. I'm quite light with the bottom mascara because I don't want it to transfer onto the shadowing that I just applied. But if it does, because to be honest, mine pretty much always transfers. I don't know how I got that so seamless this time. I would just take a cotton tip, let it dry, and then just smudge it out, as I said earlier. It's amazing how much more careful you are when you're doing your makeup on camera. Okay, so that is pretty much my eye look completed. I'm gonna go and put on some foundation now so that I don't look crazy and so that my look is complete. But stay tuned because I'm going to be taking you through how to create a flawless foundation base. So if you did like this video, then please like and subscribe to our channel. All the products that I've used today will be listed in the description box, so have a read through there. If you have any other questions, please leave us a comment because we love to chat with you.